The Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup heat coming up now. The Tideway Scullers School against White Cities, the USA. The shadows and the gloom cast by the trees on Temple Island into the sunlight. Bright sunshine now here at Henley, and just keeping an eye on the boat from the Buck side. The Wide Quad Cities rowing have veered violently across the course to a central position, and that'll give the Tideway Scullers something to think about. The umpire will need to intervene. They seem to have corrected themselves fairly quickly, the Wide Quad Cities Rowing Association from the USA, but they were careering towards the Berkshire side of the course as they came away from Temple Island. Now they've corrected well.
Yeah, and not a lot of experience on the course for that particular crew compared to the Tideway Scullers School, who have been in this regatta before. The athletes sculling that boat have been between the booms before. The Wide Quad Cities crew less experienced, and both crews a nice clean start, about 46 strokes a minute for both crews, not a lot between them as they went down the island.
This is the only junior event for women in the regatta, the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup. And, 8 boats were entered into this one yesterday morning. Some rowing ahead of them. Both these boats are Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup, unique in that sense. And just looking at it, seems to be the Tideway Scullers who are settling down, getting their race settled down a bit more now.
Absolutely, they're rowing a nice together race there. They're not being affected by the Wide Quad Cities crew at all. They look like they're executing their race plan. Little adjustment there with the steering. No coxes again in this event, so one of the scullers has a little attachment on their feet. A little movement to the left or the right will correct their course slightly.
One of the more demanding competitions this one, isn't it? Without the cox for the junior women, 4 of them. It's a tough ask. Saskia Budget in the bow seat for the Tideway Sculler. They're on the right-hand side of the picture with Meg Saunders, Clark and Duncan in 3 stroke. Knocked out in the first round last year at Henley Royal Regatta. Tideway Scullers. Progressed beyond this round. That looks in doubt at the moment because the Wide Quad City Rowing Association from over in America have put in a good shift here, and they're now a length or so up.
Yeah, their pedigree is starting to show, and although they don't have Henley pedigree, it's a junior international crew here, and this combination looking to go off and represent the United States at the Junior World Championships in Rio de Janeiro later in the summer. So I would expect them to have a strong second half of the race, and although the first 500 or 600 metres were pretty close, Quad City's really starting to turn the screw now on Tideway Scullers School. They're starting to edge into a lead.
Yeah, so no previous Henley representation for Wide Quad City Rowing Association, but as you say, winners of the women's quads at the US National Youth Championships, and Rio bound apparently, potentially. Good trip that. They'll be keen to keep their form up. Looking forward to the Olympic Games next summer. I think there'll be a few rowing enthusiasts pleased with the venue. The rowing lake at Rio looks spectacular. Past Upper Thames Rowing Club they go then, and they're forging further ahead, Wide Quad City. Tideway Scullers trying to keep in contention. As the race unfolds, they slip further and further back.
Yeah, and it's an interesting route that, isn't it? From Iowa to Rio de Janeiro via Henley.
Yeah, that's the ring road, isn't it? Not the direct road. There they are then. Rio bound potentially. Certainly into the next round of the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup, you'd have thought, barring catastrophe.
It's interesting, they decided not to take the rate down. They're increasing their lead rather than sort of controlling the race. Possibly part of a race plan. They want to test themselves. Sometimes it's worthwhile, even if you are in a situation where you can manage the race, to test out what you can do over the full length of the course. Or on certain sections of the course, they might be seeing what they can do past a certain landmark. Just familiarising themselves with what might be a tougher situation tomorrow or on the weekend.
Yeah, and the argument, though, the counterbalance to that is that they might be making it all the more tougher if they put too much into this particular heat. And they don't need to work too hard here, do they? I suppose the adrenaline will have something to do with it. You're at Henley, full house. You look at crowded scenes on the banks there on that far side, heading towards Stewards. Now you've got the race under your control in the sunshine, the sort of stuff you've dreamt of for many years as a young rower. And actually your adrenaline will run away with you a bit, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And particularly as it's their first race. It's their first race on the course. They want to go out there, particularly past perhaps supporters in the grandstands past Stewards, and put on a really good show. And that's exactly what they're doing. And it takes somebody in the crew to make that decision as well on whether you decide to bring it down slightly. And I think they've just decided to go for it.
They certainly have. Effectively as well, the Wide Quad City Rowing Association, they've put down a real marker here. And that is ominous for other boats in this particular event. The Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup, the Tideway Scullers unable to keep pace with Wide Quads here. Had the race under control from the first couple of 100 metres. Past the applause from stewards towards the judges' box. And in the sunshine, this junior boat from the States makes no error. Smooth progress through the first round for the Wide Quad City Rowing Association in the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup. There's the bleep. Relentless from them, perhaps unnecessarily so. Maybe they'll pay the price later on, spending unnecessary energy. But the Tideway Scullers beats them there by a very classy Wide Quad City Rowing Association boat.